Dad's voice was thick with entitlement when he said it. Everything you have is because of us. He stood in my kitchen like it was an extension of his own home, arms folded, chin tilted just enough to make it clear this wasn't a discussion. It was a decree. Mom hovered near the doorway, scanning my furniture, my shelves, my life, like she was mentally tagging what they'd rearrange once they moved in. That was the moment. Not when they sold their house, not when they gave nearly $500,000 to my brother and left me with nothing. No. It was when they stepped into my space, dripping with the arrogance of people who believed blood ties made them landlords. Backstory setup. We weren't always like this. When I was younger, I believed my parents loved me and my brother equally. They told me so, and I believed them, the kind of blind faith only a child can have. When Dad lost his job, I worked 2 shifts, paid bills I didn't owe, and bought groceries so we wouldn't be eating plain rice for the 3rd week in a row. When Mom needed surgery, I drained my savings without blinking. I thought we were a family. Then my brother, golden boy since birth, announced he wanted to start fresh. They sold their house, took the $480,000 profit, and wired it all to him. No loan, no discussion, just gone. I got a text from Mom. "We're so proud of him. You understand, right?" I understood perfectly. Discovery of betrayal. For months, I stayed quiet. I kept paying my own rent, my own bills, watching them visit my brother's new 5-bedroom house like he'd achieved something extraordinary. When I asked, once, about the money, Dad shrugged. "He has a family. You're fine on your own." Fine. That word burned more than the money. Then they lost what little they had left. Bad investments, careless spending. Suddenly, my apartment, with its steady heat and working plumbing, became their temporary solution. Mom said it like it was a given. "We'll take the guest room, just until we figure things out." Shift in mindset. I didn't argue. Not yet, because something in me shifted that day. It wasn't anger, not the wild, screaming kind. It was colder, sharper. If they wanted to treat me like a safety net, I'd make sure it cut deep enough to remind them of everything they'd thrown away. I started planning. First, I dug through old texts, emails, bank transfers, every shred of evidence of their gift to my brother. I found the property records of his house, bought outright with that $480K. Then I quietly contacted a lawyer. Not to sue, not yet. I just needed advice on tenancy laws, eviction processes, and what my rights were if they tried to stay without permission. Execution of the plan. I let them believe they were moving in. Dad even brought boxes 2 weeks early. I smiled, made coffee, asked about the weather. In the meantime, I had my locks upgraded. My lease revised with an explicit no additional residence clause. Landlord's signature fresh and binding. I also scheduled my vacation for the week they planned to settle in. Didn't tell them, just let them pack. The night before, I invited them over for dinner. The table was set, lights low. Halfway through the meal, I slid a folder across to Dad. Inside, copies of the wire transfer to my brother. Screenshots of their texts about giving him everything. My revised lease. A notarized letter stating they had no permission to live here. Dad's jaw tightened. What is this supposed to be? I leaned back. A reminder. You gave away your safety net. I am not a storage unit for your mistakes. Mom started to speak, but I cut her off. You told me he deserved everything because he had a family. You never thought about what I might need. And now you think you can just walk in and take? I smiled then, not kindly. You can't. Dad's face reddened, but there was nowhere for him to go. You're ungrateful. That word. I almost laughed. You gave away the gratitude you expected from me the moment you handed him that money. I stood, walked to the door, and opened it. You have until tonight to get your boxes out of my hallway. If they're still here by morning, I'll have them removed, along with anything else you try to leave." He didn't move at first. I could see it in his eyes, the realization, the collapse of a lifetime of control. They left without finishing dinner. The next morning, the boxes were gone. I heard they ended up renting a small apartment on the edge of town. My brother didn't offer them a room. Sometimes when I think about it, I feel nothing. Not guilt, not triumph, just the quiet satisfaction of balance restored. Dad was wrong. Everything I have isn't because of them. It's in spite of them.